Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Around the Corner. And today I have with me Joi McGowan. She is a licensed therapist and owns Amani Counseling. So welcome, Joy. Love that you're here. Yeah, great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here.
I am too. So tell us a little bit about who is Joy, who is Amani Counseling? Yeah, what makes up you?
Mhm. Well, I am originally from the Chicagoland area, and while there, I got to do some work with domestic violence and grief. And then I'm now living here in Northwest Arkansas with my family. My brother lives here. My mom lives with my husband and my husband and I, we have four kids. So, yeah, I feel like who am I? I am the owner of Amani Counseling and working to kind of just build my brand, my business in Northwest Arkansas.
I love that. And how did you end up here in Northwest Arkansas?
My brother, my brother and I, we always talked about wanting to raise our kids close together. We grew up with like our cousins lived really close. Like we could go to their house. We could some of them we could walk to their homes. We were always at my grandmother's house, my mother's mom. And so my brother and I have always talked about raising our kids together. And so now we have two kids who are really close in ages. We both have an 8-year-old and then we both have an infant. His
Oh,
daughter is 6 months old, and then my daughter is 3 months old. So we are living our dream of raising our kids together and the cousins.
that is so sweet. I love that. And I selfishly am just glad that you're here in Northwest Arkansas because I feel like we're lucky to have you. So, um, yeah. And when did you start Amani Counseling and how did you get inspired to do that?
Mhm. Yeah, I started my business on my own. It's been like a year that I've been completely on my own. I've been doing therapy for the last 10 years. I would say initial inspiration may come from when I was younger. There was a Black woman at my church who was also a therapist. I think that was the first time I even had the idea that like I could be a therapist. But then besides that, I think for me, especially the more I've done my own work and been in the field, I'm realizing that there are a lot of things that happened in my past that have influenced the work that I do now. And so I think this work has been a little bit of me trying to rewrite some things from my past, right? Of me trying to like show up for like Little Joy and advocating for Little Joy in ways that I didn't know that Little Joy needed back then.
Mm.
Um, and then, yeah, and then just being really passionate about mental health, really passionate about the Black community, understanding mental health, recognizing that we deserve this type of healing, this type of connection with our own bodies, with our own self.
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, just wanting to do something a little different for me culturally and personally.
I love that. I love that your career and being a therapist is part of your healing journey. That
Mhm,
you getting to be a strong Black therapist as caring healing wounds for little Joy. Like
mhm,
that feels really sweet. And um yeah, I think it's just really valuable too, like what you're saying of providing a space for people of color in Northwest Arkansas, because I know that just as a white woman and as a therapist, there can be barriers to serving people who don't look like me because I carry a level of privilege that can feel like a barrier to actually getting to process. And people don't want to have to explain their pain again and again and have to justify or validate. And so I feel like you, one, just having lived that personally, as being a person of color is so valuable in getting to, I feel like give freedom to yeah, you don't have to explain it to me.
mhm.
Um, you don't have to explain the privileges that you don't have or have lost or that you're constantly facing. And so I think that that's really powerful too.
Yeah, yeah, it's a different kind of work, and it
Mm,
allows, I think, Black and brown folks who come and sit on my couch, they explain it differently.
mm,
Uh, I think we definitely still talk about some of those things. I think it just comes up differently, and maybe because it is assumed that we have like a shared history or a shared experience, and um, yeah, and they get to share it in a different way, which is good.
mm. Yeah, I love that. Which, you know, thinking about your practice, what do you feel like is or are some of the unique things that you offer or that you really specialize um, in your practice and just for the community?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would say anything that feels unique because I think a lot of people in this area do a lot of the same things. Um, and so I guess it's unique because I do it because I'm Joy and no one else is Joy doing it.
That's
but
true.
uh,
Yes.
so yeah, I think we all do pretty much the same things, but something that may feel different for my clients, especially if clients have been at therapy before. They may not be used to someone trying to work with their body and bring emphasis to their body. I always tell my clients, male and female, that my goal is to help you feel more connected and learn how to listen to your body. And then I tell my clients how previous clients have said, Joy, I did that thing listening to my body and it actually worked. It was really good and it felt awkward and this is weird, but I still feel good about it. And um, so I think that may be different to what people may be used to thinking about therapy. People may think like therapy is like talk therapy and I'm just gonna go, 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 go. And then my therapist will say something like, oh yeah, okay, or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Um, and so just learning, I think that's different of how I do therapy a little different. Um, of I'm going to ask you to slow down, tell me what that feels like in your body, or I'm going to try to notice that you're crying and say, hey, what do those tears mean? Tell me what that feels like in your stomach, in your chest. When you say that, what's an image that comes to mind? So oftentimes I feel like that feels like the different thing, especially when I do like consults with clients. I try to explain to them of what that looks like for me to help them befriend their body. And when I give them those types of examples, their faces are like, "Ooh, I don't know." And it's like, yeah, it's a risk. You have to decide if that's something you want to do because it's different. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. And so then they get to choose if they want to start with me or do something else with someone else. Um, so yeah, I think that is different than just the way that we normally think about therapy.
Yeah. Man, I even just felt like my own body resonating with that of it is so different. And I can speak even just for my own experience as a client, um, being asked by one of my therapists, like, where do you feel that in your body? Or tell me what you're noticing in your body. I'd be like, what do you even mean? Like, what is this? But like so powerful. And so I think what you're doing, like, even though there are other therapists out there who are also doing that, like, it is still rare and still a new thing that I feel like our world is trying on. And there's something really powerful and beautiful in the slowness of that and the wholeness of, okay, like, you could talk about this stuff all day, but like, I want your whole present self to be a part of that, integrated into this journey. And that's so valuable. So I love that you're offering that to your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that maybe another unique thing is like I've recorded some meditations that I kind of like store online where like no one can actually get to unless I send them the link. Um, but I think that's really unique because oftentimes I will lead my clients in a meditation in session and then we'll like email them like homework. I only do this because I tell my clients you can do it, you're not do it, it's your choice. I'm not
Right.
gonna follow up with you. You won't be graded on it about it in the sense of like that type of follow up. But I email them some of my meditations that I've recorded on YouTube and send it to them. And ask them to like practice because it kind of goes through some muscle relaxation from head to toe, or it'll go through these themes of like how I talked about earlier about like trying to show up for a little joy. And so wanting my clients to show up for their younger version of themselves and using meditation as a way to help them get more connection with their body.
And that's really cool. I love that you do that, that you have those recorded meditations that you can pass on to your people and give them access to something like that. I'm like, man, like I'm gonna have one of those meditations. Maybe I need one of those. So that's amazing. And how did you like get started with that? Like, how did you decide, okay, I think I want to start like offering these to my clients?
Yeah. So before I was on my own, I worked at the Joshua Center.
Mm,
And at the Joshua Center, I led a 6-week anxiety skills group for
mm,
the community alongside another intern in the community who was interning at the Joshua Center. And so, as part of those 6 weeks, we kind of designed the group to start and end with a meditation as like some type of like consistent way of beginning and ending. I used to lead groups when I was in Chicago doing grief counseling work out of a grief center for my internship. And it was just very important when we were leading these grief groups. So like we started and we ended the same way every time to just kind of like anchor people to what we were talking about. And so um, when I was designing the anxiety skills group, I had the idea of like we should start and end with the meditation since we're trying to help them befriend their body, and we don't need to be like worried about the anxiety. Like it's okay, our body sends us good signals. And so, anyways, we would do these meditations. So I have like 12 of them because I had to create two, and they had to be separate because they would play them at the beginning, they would play them at the end. And then I like my home church asked me to create some for like they do a fasting thing every September, and they just asked me to create a group of them over a particular theme, over particular scriptures, and so I have some of those that I've kind of stored away. Um, and then I think it was last year I did a few that I recorded and put on YouTube, like a few of them during May Awareness Month or
mm.
Mental Health Awareness Month last May. But yeah, I think that's part of my goal. So one of the things I'm working on right now is I'm working on a book. In my book, I want to add like QR codes to two special meditations that deal
Hey,
with the like on the book.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to like lean more deeply into that because I do think that meditation is really powerful. Um, it can be really supportive with like other healing work that people may be doing, even if it's not therapy.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love the word that like anchor point. That really
Mhm.
is like an anchor of something that clients can go back to, and it's a way to just like reground, be present, and because therapy's intense.
It really is.
And so yeah, that's really neat that you're doing that and that you've offered it in other arenas too, like throughout the community. I mean, that feels really accessible and um, is something that I'm going to explore now and excited for your book when you have those. I'm going to be scanning the QR code for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, oh man. Well, you've been kind of talking about it already, but can you describe just a little more how you would define counseling? I think that's something that, everybody has a slightly different view on it, but I think is really important for clients for them to be informed of the process. And I think sometimes just a lot of people don't know. So want to provide an opportunity to kind of help demystify counseling.
Yeah. I hope that, especially when clients work with me, come into my office, I hope that counseling is an experience for them to be open and honest about what has been uh, happening to them, what has happened to them. And then I hope to kind of help bring more awareness to how their bodies have like carried them through these things that have happened to them. Um, And I hope that when people are in counseling with me, that people learn how to be more like kind and compassionate to their whole self. Because I think oftentimes we go to therapy. Sometimes I think people go to therapy just because of big T traumas or even small T traumas, but it's always preceded by something bad. Something really bad has happened.
Right.
I need to go and talk it through. And so I think sometimes when that happens, we tend to internalize that because these bad things have happened to me, I am also bad. And it is my fault that these things have happened and all that shame and blame of self, right? And so I hope that therapy gets to be a place where someone can pick up a different idea, um, choose a different perspective, can like see the event or the circumstances of what has happened and like sit at a different point of that thing with
Yeah.
me, right? Like we can take turns sitting around that event, that thing and say like, oh, could this also be true? Like
Mm.
um, whatever the blame that you want to put on yourself, like you can keep it. I don't want to take it from you. Just want to also help you say, like, can you see this other part? Can we hold the two things in tension?
Mm.
Which is something I feel like I've had to learn as a therapist. Like I think sometimes as the therapist, we always want to like help and heal so quickly um, that we don't realize that there is healing and being able to hold the tension of I may blame myself for this really bad thing. Um, and I can also see what you're trying to tell me, Joy, of like I can still have compassion for myself that this happened.
Mm.
Uh, because maybe this thing is not 100% my fault. Maybe this thing is only like 5% or 10% my fault, but Joy, the 5 and the 10 feels really, really heavy. And I'm
Mm.
like, okay, true, like facts, I hear you, you know. But if people can take on other perspectives, so I hope that that's what therapy um, feels like for people. That I get to take on different perspectives. I get to learn some self compassion, uh, and really try to. I hope people figure out ways to like really define tangible ways of what some of our like therapy language actually looks like from day to day. So if I would say my therapy language would be like, listen to your body. And as you said, right, like, what does that really mean? What does she mean? Or what do I feel in my body? Like,
Mm.
I hope that these words that I say actually resonate with people in a way that they start to use it in their everyday life and it starts to like materialize and make sense to them. Um, so I hope that's what therapy can be, is at least for my clients.
Yeah. So here are some things that I picked up from what you said. One is just that therapy is a place where you want to help reframe and rebuild stories in the way that leads towards compassion
Mhm.
to the self, to other, and that's also just realistic. Um, sometimes our pain stories, trauma can distort and create a reality that is really hard to operate in. And so you want to help give a fuller picture. And what kept coming to my mind is I don't know if you've ever watched Harry Potter, but it made me think of the pensieve and when like Harry like descends down into someone's like memory and that feels like what's happening, like what you're describing is we're going to keep descending down into the story and going back and watching it from different views so that we can have a more integrated and holistic view that can help us live a fuller and better life moving forward.
Yeah, those are definitely words that I would say that I hope people feel more integrated, more connected to themselves, like more fully, more holistically. That's good. Mm.
I love that. Um, but you've also mentioned like some things that you're doing outside of the counseling room. But are there any like specific projects or things that you're involved in that people can get connected to, or ways that they can get connected and involved with those things and with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. Like normally I would have like I have at least one thing to point people to of like where I'll be speaking next. Or right now, so I just had my fourth baby. And so right now I'm really working on leaning more into rest, which is part of what the book that I'm writing is all about rest. It's all about me like leaning into rest, longing for rest and all those things. And so I don't really have a lot of things on my schedule, mainly for the point of I had a baby and I've been saying no to everything and everyone so that I can feel like I can come back to myself. So yeah, and the things that I do have on my schedule, they're not open to the public. So so no, the only very next upcoming thing is I will be speaking at a conference in Portland, Oregon, which I'm really excited about going to Portland. And I'll be leading a meditation there. Like it's called the CCDA conference, so ccda.org. It's a conference that's all about justice and equipping organizations to uh, support their own community-led endeavors to bring justice to whatever community that they are a part of. It is a Christian conference, and so I'm really excited because I have the opportunity to this is my second year going and leading this meditation class. That's just all about meditation. So I'll be there for like do two sessions, 90 minutes, and lead like a 90-minute meditation time. So I'm really excited about that.
That is really exciting and really cool that you're doing that. I have several friends who work for the CCDA, so it's fun. I didn't realize that you were connected with them, so it's fun to like have another bridge being built there, and so that's really neat. And even though you don't have maybe necessarily quote unquote like projects that people can get invited into, what I did hear you say is you're inviting people to join you in practicing rest. And
Yeah.
that's something that you are like modeling for yourself and for your people, which is so needed. I think sometimes that's the biggest project we need to work on is learning how to rest because we spend way too much time trying to be productive in work. So
Uh, yes, I agree. Oh, I love that. I love you just even love your words about that. Like the biggest project that we should all be working on is rest and learning how to rest. So yeah, I like that. Now I'm gonna start using that. If someone asks me what I'm doing, like I invite you to rest with me.
Yes.
To things and take care of
Yes.
you.
Oh man, that is so sweet. And can you like remind us what are like ways that people can contact you if they are interested in scheduling something with you? How can they get connected?
Yeah. So you can Google my name, JoiMcGowan, Joy McGowan, and my website will pop right up. It will be Amani Counseling and Co.com. And you will see my face on the website, all these things. And you can hit the button that says, I think, what does this say? Can't remember if it says find rest or it says find your peace because Amani means peace in Swahili. So it says find your peace. You click on that and it'll give you an option if you want to work with me so that I can lead like a speaking engagement for your company or your organization, or if you want to work with me for counseling, give you two options. So if you are interested in therapy, then you should go to Amani Counseling co.com or just type in Joy McGowan, JoiMcGowan. My website will pop right up and click find your piece. And I would love to hear from you.
I love that. And well, thanks so much for just sharing about Amani Counseling and what you do. And I feel inspired. Like I am ready to go and practice rest. And I'm excited that we just, as friends and as therapists, are getting to learn how to do that in our lives and together, and then share that with the people that we work with. And so, really cool and really glad to have gotten to chat with you today.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Sarah. I appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one.